Joining us here is Doug Wallace. He is a finalist in Arts Connect Literary category for the Artie Awards. How are we, Doug?
Besides the usual aches and pains, I'm fine. But we don't want to go, obviously, we don't want to go in that direction at all.
Well, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having
Congratulations on your nomination and selection as a finalist.
This is the quintessential example of a complete surprise. You just open up your email, so to speak, and there it is.
For so many people who may not know.
Most people.
A lot of people who don't. Doug, for many, many years, wrote the annual bulletins for the Shawnee County Historical Society. Now, that was a lot of work. How many years did you do that?
Let's see, started the first publication, which guided all by my lonesome self, was 1995. It was about the home front in Topeka during the Second World War. And then we went up to 2011 when with the Storied Capitals of Topeka, which was about the historic Capitol buildings, both Constitution Hall down in the 400 block of Kansas Avenue, and of course just a block west from the studio and everything, the big State House itself.
A tremendous dedication to our community when you think about someone looking at the very details of our personal history here in Topeka. You're putting that down on paper for us. You have for many, many years. We're not talking about a small little essay. We're talking about a book. And that's a lot. That's a lot of publishing.
The bulletins over years.
Just so people know,
like how many grew and grew and grew.
Yeah, a lot of pages.
So that you'd have maybe up as many as 200 plus pages per publication. They're normally about a single topic, like the floods of Topeka and Shawnee County, or the certainly we did a couple on downtown because it's a rich heritage here, and all kinds of stories and places and businesses and so forth that made up downtown Topeka and Topeka itself.
Now, you know, you're a nominee in the category for literary arts, so for your writings, that's what that's for. But you've been involved in the art scene as well. Give us a little bit of a background on your involvement in the Topeka art scene.
Certainly, in one sense, I've been very active in promoting historic preservation in Topeka, which is architecture, of course, is one of the fine arts. And of course, I have been a board member of the Topeka High School Historical Society, and of course, we just, not that I didn't have anything to do with it, but of course, we just installed 4 new murals in the library, in the Woodward Library at
Beautiful
Topeka
stuff.
I've been corralled by people to buy art of one kind or another.
Very important to this scene.
My stick figures in artwork kind of thing are simply that. They are stick figures. Any attempts I've had in the past of doing a little bit of sketching or something like that, I recognized from the start that I better do something else. But I suppose in that sense been behind the scenes, and of course I was for several years on the board of NOTO, as well as with Topeka High Historical Society, Shawnee County Historical Society, and so on.
Yep, so you've been very involved in the community. Where were you born, Doug?
Actually, I was born on the banks of the Missouri River in Atchison, Kansas.
So how long have you lived in Topeka?
Since I was about 5½. Oh, well, actually, not quite 6, but since roughly 6 years of age, except for a time downriver in another town which we won't mention, kind of thing, for university purposes.
Who would you say is your biggest influence? Just to do what you do.
Do what I do. You should give a person notice that they're going to have to answer these kinds of questions, because who do I,
This is the fun part of it.
Of course, obviously, I followed with the Shawnee County Historical Society. I followed John Ripley, who was long time editor for the bulletins, and you have to respect greatly his contributions, and what he was able to, what John Ripley did was he took a little publication that was actually mishmash of small stories about this and that by anybody who they could corral to write a little short 2-page article about such and such. And he was able to build it up to that each publication of the Shawnee County Historical Society had, largely speaking, a single topic, and that had considerable meat to it, and everything. So certainly he was the person who built up the Shawnee County Historical Society Bulletin, when people came to think, and certainly at that time everyone knew who John Ripley was. They knew his contributions that way. So, you know, he's one person with respect to the writings, I suppose, that you always would have to acknowledge. Would be he. I mean, I can list all kinds of writers and people out there that and thinkers and everything that I have respect for. David Hume, Samuel Johnson, Henry Louis Mencken. I always quote those boys, in one type or another. But it really doesn't have anything to do with writing Topeka history.
Okay, and going back to influence, when you were 8 years old, what was the 8-year-old version of Doug Wallace doing in his free time?
The 1950s equivalent of what a geek or nerd would be, kind of thing. So I was not, you know, out playing ball or things of that nature, because my interest and ambitions at that time, interestingly enough, and the day that you're recording this and everything, is the historic flyby of the planet Pluto. And I was interested in astronomy. That was what was fascinating to me, was, you know, the stars, the planets out there, kind of thing. And so that was I even had, I drew my own little comic books with space adventures. And there were I had 4 astronauts on a thing, and so that I would be drawing cartoons of them landing on a planet and everything, and out would pop a monster from one of the space craters, kind of thing. So that was the 8-year-old Doug Wallace.
There you go. That's not too far off from where you ended up, right?
Well, now instead of looking forward, I guess I'm looking backwards.
Okay, now what do you think of Topeka's art scene from where it's been to where it is today, the progress?
Well, because I've done some research in the background of the arts, and I think the city has always, there have been spells in which people aren't aware of it, but I think there have been periods in which there's been tremendous vitality in the arts in Topeka. And I've always said that there are 4 cornerstones to the creation of the arts, 4 institutions that really are the dynamic foundation of the arts in Topeka. Topeka Public Library, incredibly important from the early days, from the 1880s on up. Clearly Washburn College, now University, Washburn University, and the Mulvane Art Museum, obvious. So Topeka Art Guild, which was established in 1916, major factor certainly in promoting the arts and creative activities. And the final cornerstone would be, interestingly enough, Topeka High School, because so many of the activities, and certainly with the new high school and the art galleries there, were a major part of the art scene back in the 30s and 40s and 50s here in Topeka. And there are other organizations which rose and fell, kind of thing, that were pushing out. They had an arts organization in the old Assumption High School on Jackson Street, right in back of Assumption Church, kind of thing, which it survived for, a decade or so back in the 40s and early 50s. So the art scene has been, it certainly is quite vigorous now with all kinds of activities. You've got the Aaron Douglas Art Fair coming up, Noto, and many different places obviously popping up here and there. But it's always been more so, I think it's just not as visible as it would necessarily be in a stronger university town like Lawrence. I think people assume, well, all the arts activities in Lawrence. Well, no. A lot of organizations, people like Margaret Whittemore, for example, George M. Stone, were some of the pioneers. And the Kansas Federation of Art, which was an organization early at the turn of the last century and everything, was organized in Topeka High School. The Art Guild, of course, again with people like Margaret Whittemore, George Stone, and others whom, you know, my mind just skips their names right now, but Mary Huntoon. Enormous talents and enormous influences in the community, and so the tragedy is we haven't really coalesced and publicized them the way elsewhere might publicize the existence of these people and these talents.
Interesting perspective, yeah. Okay, so getting back to the Artie Award here. Now, if you could say something to the person who nominated you, what would you say to them?
I would say, why did you do this? Well, thank you very much. First of all, obviously, thank you very much. I appreciate, you know, you sound like someone who's been up for an Oscar or an Emmy and everything. It's the honor of being, and then you see the underpinnings in which everybody's backbiting everybody to win the award. Nah, but no, thank you. I would say to them, thank you very much. I appreciate you having such high regard for me. I'm not sure how I merit it, but I certainly am very appreciative of it, and thank you so much that you think that I deserve and merit something like this. So thank you.
And what would you say to the other nominees in your category?
Congratulations! You did an outstanding job. Congratulations! You won and all that fun stuff. No, I do know Jeff, kind of thing, and she used to be a neighbor of mine, kind of thing, and of course she always she wrote. Well, I think both papers, but I remember she had a column in the Metro News for years, kind of thing. It was always fun reading and hearing about, you know, her opinions and background on things, and her take on events in Topeka, kind of thing. And I know she's written for other publications as well. I think we all are very appreciative of being that someone, our peers and everything, have kindly thought that we merit recognition and an award this way. So we're all very appreciative, and I congratulate them. And I know one or two of them probably will be the winner. So so right now I congratulate you, the winner, kind of thing.
Very good. Now, where would you like to see Topeka's art scene in 5 years from now?
Certainly, you want the NOTA district in North Topeka strengthening. And it's for any community, it's going to be a difficult task. So you want that. My take on history and historic preservation, of course, is you look at things like, well, obviously the Jayhawk Theater would be a wonderful venue for one component of the arts. I'll tell you something. This is I know is going to be axed from your show.
You never know.
But you know, I always had a dream, because people know that you know, my love, because I think the most beautiful spot in Topeka is Bethany Square, with Topeka High School, Grace Cathedral, and the two small remaining Bethany College buildings, and on the grounds and everything, with the trees and the gardens and so on. And I thought, isn't this an incredible asset for this community, aesthetically speaking? But it's also so much in terms of, you know, promoting the arts and having arts activities around there, in the cathedral, in Hainer Auditorium at the high school, in Woodward Library, in the art galleries at Topeka High. They already have, of course, the cloister gallery at Grace Cathedral, and then the grounds in between, so that, you know, have different components of the arts in terms of the visual arts with, you know, at the Cloister Gallery and the Art Gallery at Topeka High, literary things at the Topeka High School Library, performances in Hainer Auditorium, in the cathedral, in the sanctuary itself. I always thought, I don't see that particularly happening, but that is an image of, you know, all kinds of cultural activity going on in those grounds and everything, in not only what I consider the most beautiful setting in the city of Topeka. I think it's the most beautiful site in the state of Kansas, with, you know, going in those grounds and everything, the green shade with the ancient oaks and pines and so on and so on, and then you have these incredibly Gothic buildings on either side of the stone and brick masonry, which is so spectacular, which is an art in it, and masonry work is very much an art in and of itself. The stonemasons, they were skilled skilled
some of that
artisans.
preserved would be, you know, a good place
Exactly.
for art to be.
So that's you're preserving, of course, in those buildings and everything, an art which, to a large extent, doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good.
No,
very good. Okay, so we have now it's time for the notorious lightning round here. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. I'm going to ask you some personality questions here, and you just give me the answer that pops to your head first. All right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I was not expecting this, so I am a little.
That's good. All right, that's how we get the best stuff here.
Okay.
You ready? All right, and 60 seconds on the clock, and go. In your opinion, what was the greatest movie of all time?
Let's see. Tunes of Glory. No one has ever heard of it. I'll say Tunes of Glory. Alec Guinness.
What big name celebrity do you idolize the most?
A name that an old line name which obviously tells my age. I have high respect for Jimmy Stewart.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably better eyesight.
Better eyesight. Do you have any tattoos?
No.
If you could only take
birthmarks, but no tattoos.
Speaking of Pluto, if you could only take one item on a trip to Mars, what would it be?
What would it be? One item, obviously you have to have water. So they don't have surface water on Mars, so you need water.
What about a personal item?
Oh, personal item. Change of clothing.
All right. What's your favorite kind of sandwich?
Oh, my favorite kind of sandwich would probably be salmon.
Your favorite artist?
My favorite artist, it would be, the English guy. Thank you, Constable, John Constable.
All right. What's your favorite kind of music?
I honestly, I prefer classical music or opera or Celtic music.
If you were a flavor of ice cream, what flavor would you be?
Brown bread. Brown bread.
All right. Who is your favorite local talk show host?
Oh, Ralph Hipp.
All right, good guy.
No. That's your trick question. It is Christopher.
We'll wait.
Oh, Frank Schultz. No, Chris Schultz. Chris Schultz.
Doug Wallace.
Sorry about that.
It's a pleasure to have you come by here.
It was fun. I enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you so much for
None of
being
this will be on the air, I know.
Of course it will be. Really do appreciate you coming by.
I
Congratulations on your status as
Thank
a
you so much.
finalist.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll see you there then.